Hey everybody, welcome to Free Range Art Farm Inside the House Edition. So, tragedy has befallen the Free Range Art Farm household. We are out of honey. We only have a couple of options. The first option is to go and buy honey somewhere. The second option would be to pull a couple of frames of capped honey that we have out in the apiary and extract it. Now, I do not have an actual like spinny extractor dude, but I'm gonna have to borrow one this year because we're actually getting a sizable amount of honey. But I will show you what I do to extract this. Look at this beautiful frame. Oh my God. Guess what, the other side? Look at that. That is 99% capped, beautiful honey. I'm gonna show you what I do to get my honey out of here. Now, this isn't really the best way because it does destroy the comb. It's the you know, crush and filter, whatever method. So here's what I've got. I have a food grade container that happened to have Pro Sweet liquid, nice 5-gallon bucket. I've got a lid that I cut a hole in. I've got another bucket, food grade container that I bought at Home Depot. Making sure it's food grade because we're putting, you know, food grade stuff in it. Little lid. Now this one, I cut holes in the bottom of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this bucket on top of that bucket. These little holes correspond with that hole. Inside of those buckets, I'm gonna put some paint strainers, 5-gallon paint strainers that I bought at Home Depot. You can get it at any of those box stores or whatever. So I'm going to put one in the bottom bucket, one in the top bucket. Then we're going to crush the comb down into the top bucket. Gravity is going to work its magic. The honey will go down into the bottom bucket through another filter and then come out the bottom. Beautiful, filtered, crisp, nice, gorgeous honey. Since I'm air conditioned in my house right now, what I'm going to do is once I scrape all the comb down and get it into the top bucket, I'm going to move both buckets outside where it's nice and hot, and that should warm up the honey and get everything to flow nicely. My only concern is ants, but I'm going to keep an eye on it, so see how that goes. So what I'm doing for the bottom strainer is I'm pulling it pretty far down the bucket so it doesn't really go down very far. That way the strainer isn't just sitting in the honey and it actually is going to filter, because we only have maybe a gallon of honey. We're going to find out, actually. I've got 2 fully capped deep frames. So it's about 14-ish pounds of honey. So we'll see how much we actually get. So the bottom bucket, I'm going to take this lid. Okay, on the top bucket, I put the filter in all the way down. And that's because I want to kind of set the frame in and be able to scrape all the way down. So let's get to that. All right, let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can do this without killing myself. All right, look at that honey. Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm gonna just put this kind of right down into the bottom of the bucket. I'm gonna take my nice little whatever scraper you have, and we're just gonna go to town. Now this is a foundation, black foundation frame. So I'm just going down to the foundation and just scraping right down. I'm gonna go all the way down to the bottom and do both sides of this frame. And I'll probably leave it in here for a few minutes. There's one side. Oh my goodness. I feel bad destroying this comb, but I'll feel okay about it once I eat this honey. The tricky thing is making sure you don't knock over the buckets when you're trying to do this. There we go, scraped right down to the foundation. We're going to just let that hang out for a bit. I'm going to do the second frame, and then we're going to take this and just bring it outside and let the warmth of the day melt this honey, or get this honey flowing right on down. So I've got it all scraped down, and it's in the bucket straining. I set it out on my deck in the sunlight. I'll show you that in just a second. But what I did want to mention is, remember as a kid and your mom or dad made a cake or brownies or something and you got to lick the pan? And then as an adult you realized you get to lick the pan? Yeah. You know, that's just such a good reward. That's some good honey. Alright, we'll see you upstairs. So what we have out here on the deck is a little puppy lounging in the sun. Because she crazy. You're a crazy puppy. It is hot out here, and I've just put a lid on the top bucket, and the bottom bucket is just gonna sit there and collect all that delicious honey. I couldn't get the lid on top. I think what I ended up doing is I mixed up the lids between these two buckets. I think that white one is for the Pro Suite, and that black one was for the Home Depot bucket, because they don't really fit very well on each other, which means I just screwed up and drilled holes in the wrong bucket. But, you know, such is life. Well, this is what it looks like at the end of the night. I went ahead and I pulled this up a little bit so it wasn't sitting on the very bottom. Try and get a little bit more drained out. And this is the other tub. Let me see if I can pull this back. And there we go. Look at all that delicious dark honey in there. We'll have to try and fill it up tomorrow and see how much there is. I figure it's close to a gallon, maybe a little bit less. Probably a little bit less. This is a 5-gallon bucket, and it's certainly not a fifth full, but there we go. I'm going to put this back on top and let it drain overnight. But it's looking pretty good. So I tested this yesterday with the, what's it called? Hygrometer, or whatever the heck the thing is. And it was 16% moisture content. So, should be pretty good. Refractometer, that's what it is. Well, that's what we got. These are 2 half-gallon jugs. So I've got one about 3/4 full and one a little over half. Ended up with about 9.5 pounds of honey from 2 deep frames that were about 100% capped. Thanks for sticking with me through this little experiment. Figured I'd at least have the apiary in the background for my sign-off. So 2 10-frame deeps that were pretty much 100% capped wound up getting us about 9.5 pounds of honey from the crush and strain method. I'm sure there's more that could have been gotten out of there with a different method, but hey, that's what we've got. So I'm not going to complain. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Be good, be well, be happy, be safe, be true to yourselves. And as always, be mindful of the bees. We need them. Thanks. We'll see you next time.